This is the front bumper center section. I'm going to have to cut this off of mine. You probably won't have to cut this off of yours unless you did a Cummins swap. Then you will have to do this. But where I've got my turbo intercooler pipes, they are too close to the intercooler. So I'm going to lob them off and try and refit it because I couldn't get as close as I wanted to without hitting the intercooler pipe. And I don't want to cut my boots because that would suck a lot. So I'm going to get that cut, and then I will refit it, and I will show you what I've got. Got the corner sections all cut off. You can see those there. Now I'm going to try and fit it and see if that does anything. So I have to cut off a lot more than I thought. The front bumper is going to hit the intercooler lines, so I'm going to try and back it up a little bit so you can see. That's how much I'm going to have to cut off as far as the parts that I already cut off. And that's just to make it so that it will clear at 100%. But yeah. Just got the big piece cut off. You can see. I'm going to try and refit it and see what I got. Looks like we got about fingers distance in there now. Not exactly squared up at the moment, but ooh, well, I'm about to start my phone, but I'm about 90% of the way there. And nick the, it'll be alright. Scrape that down. But so far so good. Let's see where the mounting points are. There's one. Right the finger there. Kind of hard to focus. There's two. I still got to center everything. It's kind of hard to do this by myself, but I'm going to get it there. Got the front bumper center section on, and it looks like it's canted up a little bit. I obviously want it to come down a little bit more. I will get to that as soon as I cut one of my corner sections, because obviously I had to shorten this, so now I need to bring the other piece out. But center line to the grill, looks like we've got about the same amount of distance here as we do here. It's about finger width from the corner of the turn signal bezel. Roughly, yep. So once I get my center section, or my two side pieces cut, I'm going to just kind of hold them up there and make sure that one side's not way off and the other side way off, and that's how I'm going to get this straight. Okay, so I've got the center section sitting there, haven't really tacked it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and put my end plates on that go here so that I can kind of get the angle right with the center section. And I got this side all cut out for the turbo. That's one of the best benefits to buying a bumper that you assemble. If you've already got a custom application and you get a custom bumper, you need to make it a custom bumper. I've got the side piece on, and I went and held it up to the truck, and I like where it sits. Unfortunately, it looks like this piece right here is going to sit too far back, and my 35 might hit it. The only reason why it's like that is because my solid axle swap moves the axle about 1 inch to 1.5 inches forward. So you probably won't have that issue if you're running IFS still, but you know, my kit's designed to run tires up to 40s, so just keep that in mind. Some of the modifications that I do are not going to be the same thing you have to do. So like this cut, I'm about to make this cut and transfer it over to the other side. And all I've done is I've sandwiched the two pieces together so I can make the perfect, I guess you could say, silhouette or whatever. Pretty much just going to trace it out, cut it, and fit it, and make sure that it's not going to touch. It could be a little bit of a variance from one side to the other, but that's how I'm going to get it. And I just wanted to show you guys that that's where I'm at now. Alright, my bumper is pretty much where I want it now, nice and center. Got the side pieces tacked on. You can see the side pieces right there. Got those all tacked up pretty good for the most part right now. Got this side tacked up, and it looks like everything's going to fit. You will need to remove these side pieces. Yours are going to be longer than this. I've already modified these a little bit, but they go right there. It eliminates this, so you don't need those. The valance that goes on the bottom, that gets eliminated. The little, I guess it's called a gap guard. I have removed this side arm bracket piece. I will probably end up fabbing up something so that I can reuse that bolt hole just for some extra strength on these corner pieces. But as of right now, that's everything in there. And I'm going to tack it up and I'll get back. Alright, well there we go. I already got that tacked up in there. I'm going to do all the welding, all the major welding off the truck. And think about how I'm going to do some bracing. I think I'm going to end up running something from where the clamp is up in here, just to reinforce that a little bit. Maybe figure out how to put that arm back in there. But I'm going to end up just going on to the other side. Let me show you the fit and finish. Even with the fender flares, it's only off a little bit, but it still looks really good. So if you have a truck that doesn't have fender flares, you can probably pop this in a little bit and line up with your body. Me, I kind of canted mine out a little bit. That's why I didn't get everything. That's why I wanted to get to this point, because I wanted to get mine so it was all the way out as far as I could possibly make it without keeping the gap. It looks good. I'm going to add a little filler piece in there. I cut a little bit too much off. I don't want to see this hole under my grill, but you can see the intercooler pipe right there. I mean, I can't even hardly get my finger in there, but I'm gonna add a little bit right there. Just kind of fill that little corner in. And I'm gonna get this side tacked up and I'll show you again. But it looks good. And it's already pretty sturdy, even with just the tacks. But you can see I didn't get enough. I didn't get quite the penetration I wanted to on a tack. That one came out pretty good in that one area. But a little bit more. Alright, this is the bumper in its entirety. I'll be adding a bar between here. Strengthen it up after I get the winch and everything in to make sure everything's gonna clear. Everything is in place and ready to be fully welded. Pretty much got everything welded up on the back side. Now I'm just getting ready to show you that I'm getting ready to install the winch mount plate itself. So kind of want to get it as level as possible. That looks pretty good. Obviously I'm going to stick a level on it. But now we are to that point. Everything's welded up in here, on there. And if you're a professional welder, don't critique my welds. You may offer pointers and suggestions, but do not be an asshole. Not a welder. Never had a class. Was never taught by anybody. Just kind of picked one up and went for it. So far, they all look pretty decent. But getting there. A little bit more. I've noticed something about the winch mount. There are holes in the bottom of the bumper that allow you to be able to reach the front nut, bolt, whatever combination goes in the frontmost part of the winch. So I'm pretty much just going to flush it off with that right there and tack it all in. Just figured I'd show that before I welded it in. Make sure if you got the winch mount plate that you center up these holes the best you can and make sure that you weld them in so they are going to make it so you can actually put the winch in, because that would be a real bummer to put that all in and yeah, not be able to install your winch, or at least 2 bolts. But they do not specify that in the instructions. So there you go. Alright, got that in there. It's 1/4 inch steel and my thing has to have multi-passes to actually get it to seat, I guess, whatever. But the next thing is going to be the clevis mounts. Now I'm going to try and get them as close to the frame mount as possible. That way when you pull on them, you're not trying to pull at an angle from it and you do a straight line pull onto your stuff. Now my frame mounts were not in the exact same spot from left to right. One side was actually a little bit farther in. So I'm going to get them as close as I can and Man, it's gonna be fun to weld because that is a thick piece of metal. Alright, clevis mounts are on and welded in. I think I had to reset my breaker probably 10 times on those two. They're on and look good though. Next pieces. Looks like we're gonna do the lights. So, got your little mount. Mount goes on the inboard side. This will be the outboard side for this pocket. So inboard side, and then you just kind of line it up best you can. Don't have to be super crazy. Just kind of get it eyeballed, center line, wherever you think looks pretty. And then just kind of tack it in and then weld it up. Those are pretty self-explanatory. They don't need to be super perfect, I wouldn't think. You've got 3 holes. You can adjust it in, out, and then sideways. So, and then of course they're going to turn. So really it doesn't matter. I mean, you can be a perfectionist with it if you want. If you want this plate here to be perfectly center, sure. But pretty simple process. And once those are tacked on, I still have no idea what those 4 pieces are for. So I guess I'll use them. No clue. So if I figure it out, it'll be in the video. If I don't figure it out, well, it's a mystery for everybody. All right. Got the auxiliary lights mounts in. All welded in. That's a Move bumper with a winch mount. All done. Now I just gotta do some grinding. I'll end up showing you guys the reinforcement before I do that. I am going to add some bars to this, to that, to strengthen this. And I don't know what I'm gonna do for the corners. I'll probably end up running some kind of bar from here to there. Show you where I'm at now. So I went and got some grate. This is stainless steel grate that I got from we have a custom grill / barbecue place here where I live, and I just went and picked some of this up and tagged it in there. So now I've got some protection for my lights, and it kind of looks cool. So you can see that. Looks pretty sweet. Try to get it all as even as possible from one side to the next. Pretty much just kind of went off of, oh, that's half, blah, blah, blah. Okay, had to do a little bit of modification to the bumper. These are my reinforcement tabs. I had another video where I had the beams going this way. Wasn't going to work. Didn't compensate for how big a winch was, so I went back and redid it. And all it is just a piece of the tube that I showed you before. Added these in here for the winch plate, so that's reinforced. It shouldn't go anywhere. This is welded on all sides there, on there. Still never figured out what these pieces were for. So now they have become side wing reinforcement tabs for the weld. So if I ever hit anything, it won't deflect in. Hopefully it'll get a little bit more rigidity. All it is done on the sides. The grates are in. Said I was going to add some of those in the other video. Sorry if I'm talking through a respirator. I don't want to take the damn thing off. I'll flip it back around. And this thing gets really heavy. I've got one side all polished up. Pretty much I just start on a flat plane here, and then a flat plane here, and then go right down the center, smooth it out. That way I don't go too deep or too shallow. Same thing on all the corners, just go flat, and then go flat, and then you'll have a point, and then just grind the point down, and you'll be fine. Lots of wheels, but this is the side, this is the before. It's all raised, all lumpy, got some splatter. All that comes off. I'm just using the DeWalt 1/4 inch thick ones. And I have some other wheels around here somewhere. These. These are 60 grit finishing pads. I don't know exactly what you'd call them. Metal blending. I'll use that once I get everything done. That way it'll be perfectly smooth all the way across. Not like it'll matter, it's going to get covered in Rhino line anyway, but hey, you know, do it while I'm here. I've got the bumper on, and everything pretty much fits the way I want it to now, even with the intercooler. Kind of got a big gap here, but I'm not even going to fill it in, it'll be fine. Once it's black, I'll just kind of, I don't know, I'll put a piece of plastic there or something, you won't be able to see it. And as you can see, I'm going to have to clearance that a little bit. Yeah, it's not close, and the shackle is on the back of the leaf spring, so when it flexes, it will go that way, but steering is kind of an issue. If I were steering and flexing, that could be an issue, so I'm just going to go ahead and lob that corner off. You probably will not have to do that with yours, because if you look at my tire, you can see I'm very much far forward inside my fender well. Now this is mostly due to the, well actually it's all to do with the off-road design kit. So, I mean, that's probably not going to be an issue for anybody else, because this kit can run up to like a 37 or a 40 and still fit in the fender well. So, like I said before in one of the earlier videos, it pushes the axle forward an inch. So I'm going to cut that piece off and just place it on top of there and just trace it out and then cut. But it's ready to go to Rhino and get coated. And that's going to be it. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Here's just a few pictures of the bumper on the truck and just getting ready to send it off to get it Rhino lined. Didn't have any time to get any videos of it actually on the truck. Probably see it later on in some future videos, but it's just something I wanted to show everybody. And Move does really make some great products. If you are interested in buying, go to movebumpers.com. They have great products. They pretty much have something for everybody. All the bumpers look different from one vehicle to the next, so they're not. They have a baseline of what they all look like, as you can see in the video. But they've got some great stuff, and if you've just got a general welder and want to build your own stuff, that's really the best place to go. I haven't found anything else that compares to it. But this is the truck in its entirety. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and I'll help the best I can. Thanks.